Welcome, everybody, to another live edition of the Unquestionably Raw NBA podcast. I've got Allana Tahauer with me. I've also got Brady Klopfer here. And Byron will be jumping in at some point. He's out getting some Yeezys and stuff like that, so he'll be with us. I promise. You won't want to miss when he comes on because he's got a lot of stuff to say about a couple of our topics, and that will be interesting. But tonight, obviously, we had Wizards versus Celtics, Game 5. It was a real entertaining game, if you will. Went down to the wire. 123-101. Fantastic game. It was obviously a better game than last night. So I'm going to go to you first, Brady. With this crazy close game we had tonight, what were your thoughts?
Well, my primary thought was that I was very bored.
I think we all share that sentiment.
Yes. It was a very, very not good game. Really, it was over immediately. I know that we've seen in this series teams take big leads and come running back, but this whole series has been about the Wizards starters outscoring the Celtics starters, and then the Celtics bench outscoring the Wizards bench. And every game has been about, can the Wizards starters outscore the Celtics starters enough to keep the Celtics bench at bay? And so when the starters came out and flipped the script entirely, and the Celtics jump out to an early 20-point lead behind their starters, and you know that the benches are going to come in, and Washington's bench is just absolutely pathetic.
Yeah, it's awful.
It's awful, and it was over at that. I mean, they've already blown 15 and 20-point leads in this series that their starters got them. So then they handed over to the bench down 20. It was over. It was over immediately.
Recipe for disaster, right?
Exactly. But Boston did a lot of really good things early. I think a lot of it, truth be told, was that Washington missed some shots and Boston made some shots. I mean, Horford went 8 for 9. Amir Johnson went 4 for 9. 4 for 5.
As long as you don't steal my main stat, we're good to go. Don't steal my main stat.
I'll try to stay away from it, whatever it may be.
This mysterious stat.
Yeah,
I told you I have one thing to say about this game and one thing only.
I'll try to stay away from stats then in that case. But
stats.
But I really liked what Brad Stevens did defending pick and roll in this game. They were really laying off of the roll man, and they were just daring Washington to put the ball in the hands of their secondary scorers and have them shoot long jumpers. When John Wall or Bradley Beal were coming off the screen, the on-ball defender was fighting over screen. The screen defender was just laying back and just playing it soft and taking everything away at the rim. Washington got absolutely nothing at the rim, and they were forced to kick it out. And we had Markieff Morris was 1 of 4 on threes. Otto Porter was 1 of 5 on threes. That was the game early on, is that they were putting 3 guys in the paint, making sure that Wall and Beal weren't getting easy shots and forcing those secondary players to beat them. And those secondary players aren't good enough, or at least weren't good enough tonight.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Allana, what did you, in this barn burner of a game, what did you think?
By the end of the game, the only 3 things that I was wondering were, 1, did the Morris twins really switch places ever? Because I really want them to at one point. 2, what the new Gatorade Smooth tastes like. And 3, what Scott Brooks' prescription on his glasses are. Like, literally, I was watching the post-game presser, and that was all that was on my mind. So that should probably tell you.
So let me ask you this then. With that said, you're kind of where I am on this game. So the post-game presser was the more entertaining of the 2, right?
Absolutely. I was staring at the Gatorade, and I was like, what is so smooth about this in comparison to the other ones? And then I noticed Scott Brooks' prescription.
We're gonna take this. We're gonna take this here. We're gonna do something we haven't done. What is Gatorade Smooth? Never heard of it.
It's like I think, was it Paul George who's in the commercials? Yeah, he's like repping this new line of Gatorade, and there's like 3 or 4 flavors, and it's smoother than before.
Is that one where he hits the buzzer beater, which he's never hit in his life, and then my guy Joe Young is dancing within the commercial?
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
real quick.
It had the green flavor.
Oh, there's Byron.
And I was like, what is this?
Yeah, we got Byron. I'm not going to worry about Byron on his thoughts of this game because it was awful. I mean, me and him talk. I called him right about like.
You better not worry about it because I didn't watch it. It was so good.
Yeah, he told me, he's like, I'm done with this game. And I understood. But I want to be, while we mentioned the Gatorade commercial, Joe Young, I have reached out to Joe Young, Indiana Pacers guard. I'm going to try to get him on with us. I'm hoping he can do it. I'm not going to make any guarantees, but I have reached out to him.
I hope he can
So there's
answer
that.
what the smooth tastes like then. Because this is like a burning question.
If I can get Joe to come on, Allana, we're going to have you on, and I want you to ask him the very question.
Oh, done. I'm so curious.
Yes.
I saw it in the
You
grocery
will
store
ask-
the other day. I should have gotten
Yes.
some, but I need to
Yes.
have like clearance that it's good.
We should do a live taste test during
Oh,
Absolutely.
yes.
We may do that. Alana, you
All,
need to
like,
buy a
3 or
Gatorade.
4
We can all get a Gatorade. I drink the
Yes.
Gatorade Propel stuff. I drink that and
I'm
water.
all about the Frost, like the Dwayne Wade Frost series or whatever.
You know, leave it to Allana to mention Dwayne Wade, former Heat great.
Just had to slip that one in there real quick.
Yeah, I understand.
Shout out to
I
Goran,
understand.
my love.
Yeah, yes. But I'm going to mention one thing before we get to this next topic. I have one stat: 71% from the 3-point line. That number 71 is all I have to say. These guys shot 15 of 21 from the 3-point line. I don't care what team you're playing. If you shoot 15 of 21 from 3, you're going to win the basketball game. 71.4% from 3.
Have
They
you ever
shot better
watched One
threes.
Tree Hill? Okay.
No. Byron, have you?
Because I have a point to this, and this is just me
Go
like
ahead.
acting wildin'.
Go ahead. No. That's what we do.
What's the
No.
question?
Have you ever watched
seen one?
One Tree Hill?
Oh man, that used to be my show.
Okay, because
I used to love that show
we're
because
vibing over here. Then I love that show,
Yes.
but
Go
it
ahead.
was so far from my reality, from my high school. Like I was like, man, what do white kids do in high school?
Hey, you know what? Just a heads up. Byron and I went to the same high school.
okay. Well,
We were
the
classmates. Go
point
ahead.
of me bringing this up is that there's one episode where like their best player breaks his dominant hand or whatever, and they just decide that from then on, because they want to make the playoffs or whatever, they're only going to shoot threes. Like that's like their only strategy. And this kid is like, yeah, because 3 is more than 2, and that's like what I always think about when like teams just go off from 3. It's like obviously you're going to win the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to add one more thing. I didn't think I was going to do this, but I've noticed a pattern with the Boston Celtics in these NBA playoffs. Allana, you saw the whole series with the Bulls, unfortunately. We
Yeah.
were all very sad about that. But every time Boston got down, did you notice that when it was a must-win game, they just go nuts from 3? Have you noticed that?
Maybe
They
that's
go
just their strategy.
No, it is. They are
They're
hunting
One Tree
three.
Hill fans too.
I'm convinced that that's the case because I was watching the game with my dad, and I'm looking at him like, they're literally hunting for a 3 every single time down the floor. This is worse than the Houston Rockets and the Golden State Warriors. These guys are hunting 3s.
I
And
feel
they're
like
not-
the Bulls kind of did that sometimes too, though. Like when they were really in trouble, they just like kept putting Mirotic out there, like praying for something
And
to
that's
happen.
and it's like and you have to think why. With Nico's your best 3-point shooter, that's scary.
Yeah, especially after they let go of McDermott.
Yeah, exactly. I don't understand it, but if Boston's going to make 3s at 71.4%,
Yeah, to wrap.
You're going to win games. You know, they're not beating the Cavs. First off, the Cavs aren't going to let them shoot that good. I know the Cavs struggle defensively. That's not going to happen. But I want to go to one quick thing real quick because tomorrow night we got a big Game 6. And Byron, I'm not going to go to you because I know where you're at here. We talked about it last night. But Brady, we got Game 6 tomorrow. Rockets, Spurs. Last night, classic game, overtime. Rockets, pissed it away with all the dumb turnovers. Really the last 7.5 minutes of the game, if you count overtime. They scored like 7 points. Do you think that's just going to demoralize them and they're done?
No.
Or can they come back and win this thing?
They can come back and win this thing. I think they're going to win tomorrow. I still think the Spurs win the series. But Houston, they've been doing this all year. They play a very high variance style of basketball. They shoot a lot of 3s, which is always going to be high variance. They put the ball in their hands of one player the majority of the time and ask him to make really difficult passes, which is always going to be high variance. They play a lot based on what the defense gives you, which is always going to be high variance. They've done this all year long. They've had patches where they'll struggle for a game or a quarter or a week, and then they'll go off and score 75 points in a half the next night.
Mm-hmm.
And they're a team that's too reliant on shooters. And when you're a shooter, you understand that sometimes you're just going to miss shots and it doesn't mean anything the next night. So I think they have that shooter's mentality where they know they messed up, but I don't think they're at all worried that that's going to carry over into the next game.
Absolutely. Allana, do you think the Rockets can come back in this series and take the next 2 games?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like obviously they made a ton of mistakes, but it is the playoffs, and like they're gonna recharge to a whole nother level. I feel like they're obviously a very high basketball IQ team, so they're gonna look at what happened and kind of go from there. I think. I don't know who I think is gonna win this series at this point, but I don't think that last night was like it.
And how good is Kawhi going to be? Is he going to play? You know, the ankle injury kept him out all of overtime, the last few minutes of the fourth. If he sat that, he must be hurt. So that's going to be interesting going forward.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough one to me. I think with the Rockets, and I picked them to win this in 6. Obviously, it's going to have to be 7 if they win it. I've noticed that they played earlier in the season. It was like December, maybe January. They're in Houston. They're playing the Spurs. They've got them up by like 11 points. Turnovers down the stretch. And who was the main culprit? It was James Harden. This is becoming a thing with him. You saw it against the Clippers a few years ago. I mean, last year against the Warriors, that doesn't count. The Rockets were awful. They had no chance. But James Harden is coming up small in the biggest moments. He's turning the basketball over, and I don't know if he can handle this. You know, I think they'll win Game 6. I think they will. In Game 7, I think we'll be close. Anything can happen in a Game 7, and especially if Kawhi's not 100%, that really is going to hurt the Spurs. Should give the Rockets some confidence. But I'm going to go to you real quick, Byron. I said I wouldn't. James Harden, do you think he's going to get this thing taken care of, this turning the ball over? Because even you have to admit, as a Rockets fan, he's turning it over way too much in these close games. He's done it for a while now.
You said James Harden came up small. That sounds like one of your ex-girlfriends would tell you. The man had a triple-double. I mean,
so what? It does. He had a triple-double, but he turned the ball over 3 times in overtime and twice down the stretch of the game.
He did not make the wisest of decisions. But you know what I mean? It goes back to D'Antoni a lot too, because I'm gonna tell you why I go back to D'Antoni for allowing that type of play and for not stopping it. James Harden and the rest of the team. Lou Williams took some really bad shots in the fourth quarter, and Harden made some
Eric
bad.
Gordon as well, and Eric Gordon.
As far as those threes, and I've always said, you live by the 3, you die by the 3. That goes for Golden State as well. And I think as far as D'Antoni, he's going up against Popovich. D'Antoni has a reputation for being a running gun, fast break player. And they said that type of basketball, I guess they said, that's that Euro style. It doesn't work in the States. You're not going to win with D'Antoni. You'll build leads, substantial leads. You won't keep him. He has a lot to prove too. And as he had a great season, he should be coach of the year.
Absolutely, I agree.
Deserves that.
But
yeah, I don't mind if you have an argument. I can't get mad if he wins it. But my vote would go to D'Antoni.
D'Antoni's gonna win, but
yeah, go ahead, Mike.
I think that he's definitely going up against arguably the greatest coach, in the history of the game. That's not Phil Jackson, and he has to come up with a better strategy, a better game plan for the 2 games. But the Rockets have proven that they can beat San Antonio at home. They blew them out in game 1. I don't know what happened.
They should have won last night.
They should have. Now they had to make some adjustments. They should have won game 2. They've had to make some adjustments, and now when Nene out, and there's different issues that they have to deal with as far as matchups. But you can't let guys like
Danny Green beat you to the basket and won.
Yeah, exactly. That's absolutely ridiculous, man.
It is.
That's come on, man. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I made this point last night. When was the last time Danny Green actually drove to the cup, finished, and won? Has that happened all season? I'm just asking.
This is what I'm going to say. The charge on Kawhi, that call, lady, as a ref, you don't make that call. You let them play.
You mean the one they called on Harden?
That's a no call.
Yeah, then when they say
that should have been a no call when Jonathan Simmons took the charge. Yeah, it was a charge. They should have let it go.
That was great defense, though. That was great defense.
that many charges calls in a playoff game in my life, man.
You're right, but here's in defense of the refs. They were all charges.
Sponsor that game. American Express? Come on, man.
hey, but real talk, in defense of the refs, every one of those charge calls were good calls. Most refs will let them go. They were all good calls. You can't say, oh, that was a bad call.
They weren't making things up.
You know, they didn't just say James Harden absolutely used his off arm against Jonathan Simmons at the end of regulation. I would have let it go. They should have let it go, but he absolutely used that off arm. And I think what bothers Rockets fans is Kawhi Leonard uses his off arm all the time. He absolutely does. All the time. And they let him get away with it. And then you give Jonathan Simmons the call. What has he done? He does not deserve that call. I like Jonathan Simmons. He given a lot of energy, did a lot of good things, but he didn't deserve that call. What has he done?
You know what? I think he hasn't done that yet, but under that Popovich system, I think he's going to become a good player. I think.
Oh yeah, he definitely is.
And the other rookie, it's just that he's getting an opportunity. What's his name?
DeJounte Murray.
That guy, he's building confidence right now. You know what I mean? Like the way he was taking it to the cup, and what was that? And
that was game 4.
And I mean game 4. The way he was taking it to the cup, it was like, wow. You know what I mean?
He can play.
Yeah, he's really proven that, he's going to be a good player on the Spurs team, because they're going to have a dynasty. Once they get these, Grandpa, what's his name?
Paul Gasol.
And Gasol. And once Tony Parker retires and they go ahead and bring Kyle Lowry or somebody, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with here soon. So
I want to go to this.
They're not beating my Rockets this year.
Okay. Matt, can I bring up one more point on that?
Go ahead, Brady. Go ahead.
I just wanted to touch on what you were talking about with James Harden really quickly, because I think we get a lot of people that underperform in the playoffs. We saw it. Obviously, we've seen it with Harden. We saw it a little bit with Westbrook, I'd argue.
And we saw it with Curry a little bit last year. Even though he was hurt, he did underperform last year.
Absolutely.
And real quick, no, we're not making. We both, Brady and I are both Curry guys, and we are the first to admit
Curry fan.
He did not show up last year in the playoffs.
But one of the things I think the narrative turns to when people aren't playing well in the playoffs is that they're chokers or they don't know how to perform in the big moments. But people forget that playoffs are a different animal. You're playing against the same team 4 to 7 times in a row. That team is game planning and strategizing specifically for you in a way that they don't do in the regular season. When a team plays James Harden in the regular season, they're not focused on James Harden. They're focused on their own defensive principles and what they're going to be doing the other 81 games of the year. Mm-hmm. Once you get to the playoffs, teams start changing their game plan specifically for the opponent for the first time all year. So I don't think James Harden is a very good postseason player relative to regular season, but I don't think it's because he's a choker. I think it's because for as good as he is, he has a somewhat limited skill set. And when you have a great defensive coach like Greg Popovich, who is making it his primary goal to shut him down, I don't think we're seeing that James Harden shows. I think we're seeing that he is one-dimensional.
And you notice with the Spurs and the Warriors do it well.
You said limited skill set. Explain that part to me.
Here we go.
I know where he's going. I know where Brady's going with this.
I don't think I should have, prefaced that a little bit. He's not limited relative to the average player. I think he's limited relative to a LeBron James, a Kevin Durant, even a Chris Paul. I think he has a decent three-point shot, but not a great three-point shot. He has a great ability to find an open man when that man is open, but I don't think he necessarily creates offense the way that a Chris Paul does. His game is predicated on being able to get to his spot and either finishing, getting fouled, or finding the open man if the defense crashes on him. Mm-hmm. And if you find a way to either keep him from getting to that spot, he's not a good enough shooter to beat you, or if you find a way to get him to the spot and then keep him from being able to score, he's not a good enough playmaker to change what the offense is doing and make it work.
And by the way, let me say this. I know Brady's a good – Brady in no way is saying James Harden is not a great player, because he absolutely
not
is.
Not at all.
But what what I was going to go at is James Harden, what the Spurs are doing and the Warriors do it well is too, they keep their hands down. When you play James Harden, if your hands are out in any way, he's going to live at the foul line. They keep their hands away from him, because you put those arms out, he's going up under you. He's going to draw fouls, and that's why he's not getting to the foul line a lot in this series. That's what the great defensive teams do, and that's exactly – if you can take him – you take his ability to get to the foul line away, you're really going to limit him offensively because if you notice, he makes and he takes more free throws than anybody in the NBA. That gets limited against good defensive teams like the Warriors and the Spurs, and that's where he's going to have to adjust. And you notice what I don't like, and Byron, you'll agree with me on this. He did a good job of being patient coming off that ball screen and letting the big come out to guard him one-on-one, but he was shooting too many contested threes. Why not beat – you can beat David Lee off the dribble. He's out there dancing with the basketball trying to slice him up. Go to the basket on him, right, Byron?
Go see my Twitter feed. I think that – the way that guy can get to the cup, there's no way I would be selling for those three. Man, you know, I'm a basketball player. I'm a slasher.
If I had that guy's size, you know, I would take it to the cup every time and draw that foul. If I'm not trying to bang on you and embarrass you and demoralize you, you know, I don't. That's the thing that was making me upset. It's like, dude, why are you shooting all these threes, contested threes? And I think it was because in Game 3 they shot so many of them. And they blew them out, and they were making them, and it was demoralizing them. A team like the Spurs, that's a defensive team, when you blow them out like that, and when you're hitting threes all in their face and dancing around, that demoralizes them to the point to I'm put you like this. If the Rockets blow them out at home tomorrow, they're going to have San Antonio's going to have even though they're playing at home, they're going to have a tough time because in the back of their mind, they're going to be like, wow, these guys pushed us to a 7th game. And they blew us out at home in Game 1, you know, because you think about it. That's been my beef with the Rockets since I was a kid. They shoot too many threes, and
they've always been like that. Even when they had Hakeem, it was give it to Hakeem, let him kick it out for 3.
No, especially when we had Robert Horry and Kenny Smith. Oh my God! But you can't shoot threes like that when you know.
Absolutely.
And you know, and Steph Curry aren't, you know, you're not passing the ball to them for them to shoot it. You know,
absolutely. Hey, Byron, that's a perfect segue into this next our second to last topic here. The Golden State Warriors. So we're watching this Spurs-Rockets series, probably the best series so far, the first round, I think. We had a close game. You know, we're going to go Game 6. So I'm going to you, Byron. Can either the Rockets or the Spurs beat Golden State?
The way they're playing now, absolutely not.
Wow, I am shocked. Byron is saying this. Go ahead, Byron. I'm interested.
I'm being real. But this is what I will say, though. You know, the buddy of mine, Matt and I, Josh, he said something that was powerful. He said, you know, this Rockets team, I want to see that Rockets-Warriors series. I really want the Rockets to win. Not just because they're my home team and I'm a fan, because the GM said that he brought in the Andersons, the Gordons, the Lou Williams. He said this team was constructed to defeat the Warriors. So they weren't worried about anybody else in the Western Conference.
Well, you shouldn't be.
Except for the Warriors. So I think that maybe, just maybe, you know, D'Antoni has something special for the Warriors.
Interesting.
Do they, you know, the way they're playing now? No. But when they play the Warriors, it's a whole they have a lot to prove. And I think that this rivalry, I'm not comparing James Harden to the GOAT by any means, but it's very reminiscent of how the Bulls could not get past Detroit. You think about it. You know, this is going to be the 3rd consecutive year that they would have faced the Warriors. The first time being the you know, in the conference final last year. Unfortunately, we know we had the white coward and we were the 8th seed. You know, this year, being a 3rd seed, you know, we would play them again. It's like, you know, when you like Allana was saying and Brady was saying, you know, you play these teams over and over and over again like that, you get hungrier each time to beat them. So the way they're playing, San Antonio, they don't stand a chance. The Rockets stand a better chance. I think that the Warriors will sweep the Spurs right now.
I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not mad at you for saying that either. I would say give them a game, but I thought Utah would get a game. I was wrong there. I thought Portland would get a game.
And who wants to see that series? And another thing I'm gonna give you too. Look at this. The Warriors, they're very arrogant. They're very cocky. Very conceited. No.
Okay.
I'm going somewhere with it. Look at what's going on in the Eastern Conference. LeBron has swept through. They've swept through the Western Conference. LeBron and the Cavs.
You mean the East?
I should say the Cavs. The Cavs have swept through the Eastern Conference. And then the Warriors have swept through the Western Conference. With their egos to send a message to one another, you don't think they both want to sweep through their conferences to play?
Absolutely, they do. Absolutely, they do.
That's a great point, Byron.
Then go for a sweep in the finals. Who has done that before?
Mhm.
That's not going to happen. That is not going to happen. And
both of these teams have a chip on their shoulder, and that's what they both want to accomplish.
That's all good points. I'm going to have to turn it over to our other Warriors hater that we have tonight. I'm going to go over to you, Alana.
Can either the Spurs are? I don't know what you're talking about.
Can the Spurs or the Rockets beat Golden State? Do you see that happening?
I'm just gonna say yes to put it out there in the universe so that I don't have to deal with anything regarding the Warriors.
Nice.
I mean, okay, here's the thing. I feel like in the playoffs, literally anything can happen, which is what makes it so exciting. I think that this particular postseason has been kind of anticlimactic at this point.
I mean, 16 of the 17 games in the second round have been blowouts.
Right. So I'm saying, like, this time around, I don't know if I can really, like, back that opinion. Unfortunately, it's been kind of a lackluster postseason, in my opinion. But, yeah, sure. I'll say yes, they can, so that the universe gives me what I want. And so Steph Curry and Draymond Green can stop yakking.
What I was waiting for you to close that off with is don't at me. Brady, I'm going to you.
You really have to give the disclaimer. People come after you, Allana.
I mean, I feel like at this point it's like a well-known thing that I hate the Warriors, so there's not even a point in getting into conversation with me about it. But I feel like last year I was getting a lot of hate.
Of course you were. It happens when you hate. It happens when you hate the Warriors. But let's let Brady. Let's get his opinion on this. Can the Spurs or the Rockets beat the Golden State Warriors?
Not a chance.
He's from the Bay Area. What you want him to say?
Oh no! You let him speak. I don't care where he's from. You let him speak. You let him speak. This is my show, Byron. I determine who speaks. You let him speak.
I'd say, barring an injury, less than a 5%.
Put that in the universe too? Can we put that in the universe?
Hey, screw you about it.
You giving him a 5% chance if there's an injury.
No, I give them a 5% chance without an injury.
Oh wow, you're giving them that much of a chance. Wow.
Maybe. I would be shocked if either series goes to 6.
You're less optimistic than I am.
Okay, but what are the chances that Ayesha Curry gets involved in a Twitter beef? This is what we really need to be talking about.
I'd say like 60 to 70%.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Hey, if Ayesha wants to go out there and give her NBA conspiracy theories, hey, God bless her heart.
You should just put them in her cookbooks, just a subtle dig every other page.
Let Ayesha have her conspiracy theories.
She's such a good cook, man. Like you know what I mean?
Hey, she does have her own cook show, so she knows what she's doing. Obviously, I don't know.
I think she's just.
Hey, Byron.
I think she's just stealing all these Rachel. What's her name?
Rachel Ray.
Damn, Byron, man, that's cold-blooded.
I can't even make scrambled eggs, so I can't really talk on this. But
Byron's going in on the misses. Damn,
I'm pretty sure I blocked her. She literally gave me she made my skin crawl when she started with all her craziness.
Yeah, you wow. Yes.
I either blocked her or unfollowed her. I can't remember, but yeah, I don't see her on my timeline anymore. Is the point?
Wow.
Bro, she took it to a whole other level, bro.
Yeah, and people are talking smack on Gabrielle Union. Ayesha Curry's way worse at that kind of stuff.
Wow. See what we've become TMZ of YouTube. I love it. That's what
Gabrielle Union she's a pretty successful actress, so
right, she can just go ahead with whatever.
What does that have to do with anything?
She's entitled, man.
Yeah, she has clout.
There you go. Fair enough. I'm not going to argue that. Let me say this.
He lost. She never said that it was rigged. You know.
That's true. Let me I'm going to finish off with this, and we're going to go to our final topic.
I'm sorry. I'm just being petty.
That's okay.
I mean,
Byron,
I brought up Aisha, so this is all my fault.
it's not your fault. That's what we do
When I
here.
get mad, I don't want to talk about my wife, so I'm just saying.
Byron, you don't have a wife right now, so it doesn't matter. I don't mean that as a joke. I don't mean that as an insult.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
don't mean that.
I'm not putting that in the verse because I don't want nobody coming after my wife.
Karma. Yeah, that's right. Karma. I understand, but I'm going to say this. Do the Spurs or the Rockets have a chance to beat the Warriors? Absolutely not. 0%. The only way it happens is if there's an injury. That's all I'm going to say about that. Yes,
No, me and the universe have something going on. Feel free.
You and the universe. I like it.
Y'all better not get into the Warriors hurt.
Allana is.
No, I'm not.
with the
I'm not
universe.
asking for an injury. I think that's a terrible thing. I'm just saying.
Allana saying she is one with the universe.
No, not one. We just have a thing going.
Oh, she's becoming one with the universe. It's getting there. I understand. That's hey, there's nothing wrong with that. But I want to go into this final topic because we have this clown on Fox Sports 1, Nick Wright. He said some good things from time to time. We all know who he is, you know. But today, I believe it was on Colin Cowherd's show.
Yep.
He said that LeBron James is a better basketball player than the great Michael Jordan. And I have to go to Byron for this first. I have to because he's an all-time Mike fan.
You want to save me for the end, bro? Because I'm.
You know, I will. I'm going to go to you, Brady. We're going to go. We haven't gone to Brady first yet. We'll go to Brady. Good point, Byron. We're going to save you for last. Come on now. LeBron James is a better basketball player than Michael Jordan. Where is this nonsense coming from?
I think it's closer than most people want to admit, to be honest.
Oh.
I don't think he is better. But I do think it is. I think LeBron James is one of the 3 best players of all time.
I'm with you there.
Brady, what year were you born in?
Oh, don't take me there. Don't take me there, Byron.
Not to.
I would slap someone if they asked me that question. So
Don't age shame me.
Were you born in the 90s? Yes or no?
Don't age shame me, Byron. I grew up watching Michael Jordan. I promise you that much. We'll leave it there.
No.
On
We'll
YouTube?
leave it.
Byron's gonna bring his hatred now.
Did you grow up watching him as a wizard or a bull?
Byron, you want my first edition VHS of Space Jam? Because you can't have it.
Yes.
I got it
Mine.
I got it on DVD,
Mine.
bro. I got it on DVD.
I got my original copy.
I mean, I have a commemorative coin, so I beat you all.
Yes. Byron, let Brady speak. Let him speak. Let him speak. Don't try to take over the show. Let Brady speak. It's his turn.
Here's my biggest point. I grew up. My favorite book growing up was. Oh, that's nice, Byron. I like that.
Yeah, I'm like, what is happening?
I was like, what are you going to go to video
He's
for?
showing a special edition Blu-ray of Space Jam.
Yeah, screw your special edition. I have like the straight off the press as soon as it came out copy still. VHS.
I did
Yes.
too.
Probably doesn't work because I watched it so many times.
Yes. That's
Anyway.
all right, Byron. Byron with the props. That's what we do here.
That was beautiful, Byron. I'll give you points for that. So when hey, put your toilet seat down, Byron. Come on.
We've lost all control.
Hey, that's my fault. I'm losing control of my guests here. This is terrible.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm letting the inmates run the asylum.
Okay. Anyway. So
And Byron can't stop laughing. I might just have to mute his.
You just mute him.
yeah. Bye, Byron. See you.
No, I'm not going to mute him. Go ahead, Brady. Let's get back on topic here.
So my favorite book growing up was For the Love of the Game, which was Michael Jordan's autobiography that he came out with after his second retirement. And he had a point where he was talking about how everyone says he's the greatest player ever. And he said that he could never fully accept that because every generation built on the generation before them and was taking moves from the players before them. And that he was only as good of a player as he was because he had studied Dr. J, studied Magic Johnson, studied Oscar Robertson, taken their moves, applied them, and then added on to it. And in a way, I think that's what LeBron James has done. When we talk about comparing players from one era to another era, people are always talking about how the game has changed in that time. But what they need to talk about also is how the talent has changed. basketball, the NBA is more talented now than it was when Michael Jordan played. We have kids growing up playing AAU, practicing 5-6 hours a day when they're 10 or 11.
Mm-hmm.
We have high schoolers choosing their high school based on the basketball program. NCAA rules that are more liberal than they used to be so that players can practice more. The average talent in the NBA is just better than it was in 1990 because players take it more seriously and are allowed to take it more seriously from a younger age.
It's all relative.
So it's all relative. So I think if you look at the skill set, if you could take LeBron James and put him in the early 90s, put Michael Jordan in now in 2017 or in LeBron's peak, whenever you want to say that was, I think that they would be very, very, very similar players in terms of talent and in terms of value, if not in terms of skill set. But you have to take it relative to what they were playing with because that's the natural evolution of things. And when Michael Jordan retired the first time, before the second trilogy, before the 72 win season, the first time they put up a statue outside of the United Center that said the best there ever was, the best there ever will be.
Yep.
No one's saying that about LeBron. He's not that much better than his peers the way Jordan was. So I think in a vacuum talent, they are very similar, but you have to judge how good they were versus how good their peers were. And we've never seen anyone like Michael Jordan or even close when you measure it that way.
Absolutely. Thank you. That's a great
I want to apologize to you because of that beautiful, monologue you just did.
Byron's a reasonable guy.
That was beautiful, man. Like,
Thank you, Byron.
I felt, my allergies started acting up, man. That was beautiful.
Start cutting some onions.
I can tell you're a good actor, man, because that was just. You made the right choice by moving to Hollywood, brother.
Thank you, Byron. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Now I got to go to Allana because we know Allana's a big LeBron James fan.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly feel like Brady took so many of my points already out of my mouth.
Sorry about that.
No, which is good though, because it means I'm not alone. Yeah, I understand that a lot of people are really heated about anyone calling LeBron James better than Jordan or even close to him, but a lot of it just has to do with like comparing and contrasting the eras, like Brady was saying. I mean, you can't. It's like apples and oranges at this point, and I don't even feel like there needs to be a conversation anymore about who's better. I don't feel like this needs to keep coming up, and I think that both LeBron and Jordan like want this whole narrative to die because Jordan was who he was. LeBron's trying to make his own legacy, and I don't know. I just feel like the whole comparison just needs to stop.
Fair points. All good stuff.
Couldn't agree more.
Byron, I'm ready to hear what you have to say because I know you're an all-time Mike fan. It's your favorite player of all time. So please enlighten us here with your thoughts on this.
Well, I think Brady said something. That same book that Brady was referring to, I have that book. It was in my mother's home. I actually, I had to, when I went to Houston, I think a year ago, I had to bring it back with me. But anyways, what I want to say is I remember that quote from Michael Jordan saying that he can't call himself the best. He was like, maybe one day we'll see somebody take up from the free throw line and do a 360. They'll do things that I haven't done. The game is forever evolving. It will continue to evolve. If I talk to a kid now, I was talking to a kid and I said something about Reggie Miller. He said, "Who's that?" He didn't know Reggie Miller. He knew, but he knew who Steph Curry was. And I said, you know what? It got to a point where me and I was actually talking to my brother, and he said that, man, I wish I could bring you to the barbershop, man. People are talking crazy. LeBron better than Joy. He said, man, I'm mad. I get mad.
Are you talking about Brenton?
Yeah. He said, I get mad. I want to fight him. And, they start yelling at me. They don't know anything about the game of basketball because although he's fairly young, he was a little kid watching these games, all of these games, these Bulls games with me, together. And we saw firsthand how great Mike really, really was. He was definitely a cut above. He was like Michael could have been like the fifth Beatle. You know what I mean? Like he was like a Paul McCartney, John Lennon type of. He was a rock star, man. He was the only other Michael that was more famous than was Michael Jackson. And if the NBA had a Michael Jackson, it would be Michael Jordan. Like that's how great he was. I think, but I think that there's no need in arguing that, because when Kobe beat his all-time record, I was mad, and I called my mentor, who's, you know, I'm not going to say his name, but he knows Michael Jordan very, very well. They're like best friends, and he was like, "Don't be offended, don't be mad." He was like, "Records are meant to be broken." He was like, you know, because my whole thing was like, he's done. He's just playing to break Mike's record, and he was like, "Don't be mad. Records are meant to be broken." He said, you know, to this generation, Kobe might be the best thing ever. He said, if that doesn't change what Michael meant to you. And the man really made me dream. And he made me want to play the game and work on my abilities and get better. But to answer the question, do I think that LeBron James is better than him? Absolutely. I think that if you put those guys one-on-one, the best of three, Jordan will beat him in 2 games. And both of them in their prime, Jordan will destroy him in 2 games. He'll destroy him, and I think the most points that LeBron will get, I'll give him 8. If they're going to 15, I'll give him 8. That's how great I think Michael Jordan is. That's not taking anything away from LeBron James. Here's the guy who, in his prime, he could not defend Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant used to bust his chops. Dwayne Wade used to bust his chops, like Kevin Durant. And none of these guys, to me, are better than Michael Jordan. LeBron James.
Charlie mentioned it yesterday. Kevin Durant gives it to LeBron.
Yeah.
His team just loses.
These guys are not better than Michael Jordan, and LeBron James can't do anything with them. And it appears that when he went against Kobe, he had a performance anxiety, kind of like how Michael Jordan said he was afraid, you know, to perform against Dr. J because he took the torch from Dr. J. But I've seen now, Brady, you know, I'm age shaming myself. I've seen YouTube clips of Mike defending Dr. J, them going at it, you know. He looked pretty fearless. I mean, he finished with 30-some points. Doc had about 30-some himself, but it was really a passing of the torch. And, you know, I think that LeBron James is like anything. He's unlike anything we've ever seen, the NBA has ever seen. The guy
he's a freak of nature.
He's Carmelo's size. He came into the league a power forward size. Well, I've seen him play in person. He looks like a deer, like he's galloping across the court.
He's Carmelo's size and moves like Russell Westbrook.
And he moves like a guard. But because of that, he's had to rely on a lot of physical attributes to excel in the game. Now, Kobe and Mike, they didn't have the physique that LeBron James had. They just did not have the genetic makeup. He had a huge body and the height that he has. Therefore, they had to take their game skill-wise, their skill set to different dimensions. The Michael Jordan on the first three-peat, he was still Air Jordan in. He'll come dunk on you, you know, going baseline, faking 2 defenders, dunking on Mike. I was watching a video clip of him yesterday. He was saying that, you know, they were saying that that's what he wanted. He wanted the double team and triple team, you know. And when he came back for the second three-peat, he was older. Pat Riley and Jerry West were saying he slowed down a bit, but it wasn't even noticeable because he developed other things, the fall-away jumper, the spin moves. He had such an arsenal, such a repertoire of moves because physically he could not do what he did, you know, in his first NBA run prior to 1993. So I've always wondered, my friends and I, Matt, you said it, Kenny said it, we all said, we want to see where LeBron is when he's aging. He still has not, with the size he has not developed a post game that Michael and Kobe had. And I don't understand why he cannot go on a low post.
He can score in the low post. He can score in the low post because of his size. But if you think LeBron James's post game is as good as Mike's or Kobe's,
he doesn't have the foot. Even though he worked with Hakeem, he doesn't have the footwork or the post up game, the low post game that Michael Jordan and that Kobe Bryant had.
But see, this is the problem with the whole argument is that there's so many different things you could be looking at to compare them that it just becomes like pointless almost just because one goes against another this way and then the other, you know, takes the cake for another way. I just don't understand why people feel the need.
Okay, this is what Gonzo said. This is what Gonzo said last year after we did a podcast after the finals when LeBron got that amazing block on Iguodala. He said, but everybody's like, Skip Bayless was saying, oh, everybody's talking about LeBron's block, but no one's talking about Kyrie's shot. And he said, do we have to do that? Okay, Michael Jordan hit the shot on Cleveland. That was huge. You know, he hit the shot on Utah. He said, but is LeBron's block? They're two different players. Is LeBron's block any better than Michael Jordan's shot against Cleveland or against Utah? He said, we have to stop comparing like that. You know, yeah, Kyrie hit the shot, but LeBron made it possible.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a defensive player. So I'm going to say this. LeBron is the first of his kind that we've ever seen. That's the thing. And see, I don't argue with people that are too much younger than me and that didn't see Michael Jordan play the game of basketball and will tell me Kobe's better or LeBron's better. Because if you didn't live in that era to experience that and see it, you'll never understand the magnitude. Just like how, to me, you know, Hakeem is better than Jabbar. But I am thankful that the kids today had a Kobe Bryant, especially consecutive with Mike. I never thought I would see someone almost as good as Mike consecutively, you know, in their careers. Like one career ends, boom, another one begins, and he just carries the torch so well. So it is with LeBron James. I'm glad that children are able to have a LeBron James, have a Kobe Bryant to look up, and they can dream, and they'll inspire another great player that we'll be arguing about 10, 15, 20 years from now.
Yes.
You know what's
go ahead.
Byron just brought up an interesting point a while back. I want to bring up when you were talking, Byron, about how much you think Jordan would destroy LeBron by if they played one-on-one. Yeah. I think that brings up an interesting point. Like, there's no, you know, this is a very subjective thing. There's no right or wrong way to view this. But LeBron is such a team player. His greatest skill is as a passer, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. His greatest defensive ability, he's better defensively as a help defender than an on-ball defender. Michael Jordan is like, he's here and everyone else is here in terms of one-on-one ability. There's never been anyone, I don't even think a player like Kobe deserves to be in the same sentence as Michael Jordan when you talk about one-on-one individual ability to beat someone on both sides of the floor, just going at them. And, you know, you can take that for whatever you want, because obviously it's not like one-on-one necessarily means anything in a 5-on-5 sport. But, you know, if we're going to have these silly comparisons where you can't reach a right answer one way or another, I think that's an important thing to bring up, that no one is in the same breath as Michael Jordan if you want to talk about a one-on-one player.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to say this. I have 2 points to make here. Everybody made outstanding points, all good stuff. But I look at it this way. Michael Jordan, we watched him at 40 when he was in Washington, destroy Paul Pierce, right? Destroy, you know, Ron Artest. He gave Ron Artest 48 points at 39 years old, right? Imagine a prime, and this is when Ron Artest was Defensive Player of the Year. Imagine a prime Michael Jordan.
And he was on, not to cut you off, but he was on ESPN, and they said, out of Kobe, Michael, and LeBron, who was the hardest to guard? And he said, hands down, Michael Jordan.
And that was a 39-year-old Jordan. So that's where I look at it. And this is the one thing that stands out in my mind. I'm surprised nobody brought it up. You know, and these debates are always going to happen. Silly, yes, but they're always going to happen. J.J. Barea outplayed LeBron James in the 2011 NBA Finals. J.J. Barea would never have outplayed Michael Jordan in any NBA Finals. Shuts down the entire argument. So this clown, Nick Wright, he says LeBron James has a better post game. Are you serious? You must not have watched Michael Jordan if you think LeBron has a better post game. LeBron can guard more positions. He's not a better defender than Michael Jordan, no. LeBron is a better passer, and I think it's all subjective for the most part, but at the end of the day, and all of us will agree, would Michael Jordan have ever been outplayed in an NBA Finals by J.J. Barea? The answer is no.
He would have never lost in the Finals.
He never lost. That's okay. Mike eventually, if Michael would have been to, LeBron's been to 6 finals. He's lost. What's he, 2-4 now? Or no, he's 3. He's been to 7. He's 3-4. He's been to 6 straight. If Michael had gone to 8 finals, 7, LeBron's going to be in 8. He would have eventually lost. Like you said, Byron, if they would have played the Rockets in '94, you say the Rockets would have beat them.
Well, if you
that was really Mike. That was Mike's kryptonite in the regular season, though. But we know the regular season doesn't always mean anything, and I'll tell you why.
But now we're just speculating, like what could have been and what might have been.
It's always fun. It's fun though.
No, I understand, but I'm just saying that's not. You can't like use that as evidence one way or another.
No. But when you speculate, though, the reason I say a lot of people do believe Hakeem would have beat Mike in the finals, but I always throw this back out. Remember when Brooklyn first got all those, you got KG, they got Pierce, all those guys. They were 4-0 on Miami in the regular season. What happened come playoff time? It was a sweep, and it wasn't close.
But I agree with that point, Matt. But I have one point I want to make, because I think people point to the fact that Michael never lost a finals way too much. And they point to how many LeBron has lost way too much. There's one main reason that Michael Jordan never lost the NBA Finals, and that's that the Detroit Pistons were in the Eastern Conference. Like, if the Detroit Pistons had been in the Western Conference, Michael Jordan would have lost in the finals instead of the Eastern Conference.
I still don't think I don't think Mike would have got to the finals. I'll say that I don't think Mike would have. Like, I don't think Mike would have got to they would have lost, but. Like when the Pistons, they beat a lot of people say the Pistons were old. Isaiah was 29, Joe Dumars was 27, I think Rodman was 28, Lambeer was they were still in their prime. So he beat a very good Detroit team. Fair. He would have struggled in the mid and late 80s. They couldn't beat the Boston Celtics.
True. My point is just that if you're second place if you're second or third place in the league at the end of the year, and that team the team ahead of you is in your own conference, that's no more admirable than if you're second place and the team ahead of you is in the other conference. You know what I mean? If you're the second best team and you lose in the conference finals to the best team, why is that suddenly better on your resume than if you're the second best team and you lose in the NBA finals to the best team? So I think
let me give you this, Brady. This is what I'm gonna say. Another thing that adds to Michael's legend is this. If you look at it, and I sent Matt a clip. I don't know who it was, but it was another sports show, and they were saying that LeBron, something along the lines of like LeBron being better than Michael Jordan, or him having a easy road, or if LeBron wins. Basically, they said if LeBron wins in the finals, you have to put him above Michael Jordan. He's the greatest of all time, and one of the arguments that was made was this, and I have to agree. Michael had a fairy tale, picture perfect career, in the fact that even his personal life, it was like if they had Instagram and Twitter back then, man, this boy would be out here looking like Chris Brown or Ray Rice, somebody. Ray Rice. I'm telling you, man, he would be out here looking bad. Fought Steve Kerr. You 6'6". What can little bitty 6'1" Steve Kerr say make you so mad that you punch him and you black his eye? You black Tony Coach's eye. You black Will Purdue's eye. But these were things that they kept very, very, very covert because they wanted. He was the ambassador of the NBA, and it was just like. And another thing is this: you gotta look at this. It took him 7 years to get to the finals and win. He beat a Magic who was in his prime, who was 30 years old. He beat a 30-year-old Magic. Magic was in his prime. Okay, that adds to his legend because you beat somebody that was legendary, so that makes your title legitimate. He wins 2 more titles after that, a total of 3 consecutive. He retires at the top of his game for a year and a half, 1 season and a half. He comes back. Everybody's super excited, including myself. Even though
we all were.
Even though that could have put my Rockets in jeopardy. When Mike came back, my mom said, "Son, your Rockets are in trouble." They lose to Orlando Magic. He goes, almost doesn't film Space Jam. He puts a court on the lot. He goes and filmed, and he practiced all day. And then he comes back, and he wins 3 consecutive championships, and he retires again. That right there is like nobody has had the luxury, or nobody, even though he was dominant and the NBA was more balanced then, you got to look at it like that. He's undefeated in the finals, 5 regular season MVPs, 6 MVPs.
Defensive Player of the Year.
Defensive Player of the Year, and MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, MVP, All-Star MVP, that.
Outside of outside of Alvin Robertson, what two guard has been Defensive Player of the Year other than Michael Jordan?
And then you got to look at this
That's
too.
impressive.
I mean, the things that add to, and then a lot of things came his way that were so fortunate. You know what I mean? That they just magnified. You know, whenever it was time for you to get on a big stage, he performed. You got to think about this too. 1992, Dream Team. Look what that did for his legend, and you know he was on that team. I mean, that's the first year they allowed for NBA professionals to play. He's on that team, and that season he wins the championship, regular season MVP. I mean, there were so many things. I mean, time was of the essence for him. No, and the only other person who's had a career in any type of entertainment like that was maybe a Michael Jackson, to where it's like you got the best songwriter, you got the best producer in Quincy Jones, and you make an album at the right time, and it's the greatest thing. And you know, timing plays a key role in this. I'm not discrediting. I'm not saying he didn't play against great players, but I can see why John Sally and Isaiah Thomas, even Kobe Bryant has a stake in this claim for his greatness, you know, against a Michael Jordan, because what all they did, they're probably like, man, even Hakeem is so humble, you know, he probably won't say it, but it's like even Hakeem, even a Clyde Drexler, even a Charles Barkley can be like, well, wow, you know, even a Patrick Ewing, you know, you can't tell me that they weren't great, but everything aligned so perfectly for Michael to shine. And I think we'll be far-fetched to see another athlete. It might be another 20 years before we see someone. Everything lines up so perfectly that we believe that, man, he is the greatest. Not taking
perfect career.
Not taking anything away from Michael Jordan's work ethic, his determination to win or anything. But he had a fair, like, that's something that his career almost looks like some sort of fictional basketball movie. Like, no way he was that great, you know?
Yeah, on that point, Byron, like, admittedly, the way the world has changed since Jordan played is a big factor in this. But like, when I was a kid, and to answer your question, Byron, I was born early 1990.
Okay.
But when I was a kid, when I was like 4, 5, 6, all the way up till like high school, I was a Warriors fan. Always a Warriors fan. But every morning I had the same routine. I put on my Michael Jordan jersey.
Nice.
I went Road Reds. I went out on my back deck with my box of chalk. I pulled out the red chalk. I drew the Bulls logo on my deck. I drew the paint, drew the key, I drew the 3-point line, everything all in red, the Bulls logo, my Jordan jersey on, my Chicago Bulls basketball. And I would sit there and play basketball, pretend to be Michael Jordan for 4 or 5 hours every day.
Yes.
And no one, and it, you know, time has changed. Obviously, it's a different era. We have things like social media. Games are more readily available for players to watch. But
now everyone wants to be Steph Curry and shoot threes from half court.
Yeah, but I don't think even Steph Curry has like a quarter of that impact or appeal that Michael.
No, absolutely not.
People watch him and they're like, "Oh, I want to do what Curry did," but Michael Jordan was loved by every basketball fan.
The Gatorade commercial, right? Want to be like Mike.
Yeah.
Never seen anything like it.
And the retirement tour where he got standing ovations for 10 minutes from every arena he went to.
Mm-hmm.
He transcended the sport.
Yeah, and that's why the whole comparison doesn't even make sense, because what Jordan did was beyond just what he did on the court. I mean, it was the way that he had a mass following. It was kids wanting to grow up and be exactly like him. I mean, it just goes beyond anything else.
And look now, even us 40, 50, you know, I'm not 40 obviously, but you got 40, 50-year-old dudes, they're still camping out to buy the sneakers.
Yeah. He's been retired 15 years and he still sells more shoes than anyone else.
Exactly. And that goes to show, like, one kid who was like 17 tried to tell me, "Oh, Michael's not better than Kobe," because I grew up watching Kobe. I said, "That has nothing to do with it." I said, "You go to Foot Locker right now, and I said you'll find Kobe Bryant shoes on the wall, but you won't see Michael Jordan shoes." Oh, he got better
because they're so loud.
Like no, because he was back.
Hey, before we end this, I want to throw this out there before we end this because it's getting late, I know. But a buddy of Byron and I, Raymar, he was working with some kids and he asked him, y'all know who Michael Jordan is? And they told him, that's the guy who makes shoes. And he was like, oh, yes, that's how it is to some people.
One last thing to say before we go off. Kevin Garnett.
Go ahead, Byron.
Kevin Garnett said this. He said, players are giving LeBron James too much props. Like they're afraid they want to leave and go to the Western Conference because they feel like that's the only way they can win and they can beat LeBron. And they're giving him props while they're playing him.
They're going to go to the West and lose to Golden State.
This is what I have to say. I don't think that I see how players act against LeBron. It's more of a like they're afraid of the physicality of LeBron.
Oh, they're intimidated by him. They are scared of him.
They're afraid of LeBron the same way players were afraid of Michael Jordan,
or Jeff Van Gundy was afraid of Michael Jordan.
Exactly, because mentally he would beat you down, and you had to be strong to go up against him mentally. And I mean, he ended some careers. It was like guys that were so afraid of him. They were so afraid of Michael Jordan. And like Allana said, completely different era. The game wasn't even globalized like what it is today. So,
absolutely. I'm glad you let
it is definitely an exercise in futility to even try to prove. I mean, it really is to try to prove anything. What
this argument does, it makes for good arguments like we had here tonight, barbershop arguments, all that stuff. That's why we bring it up. And I would have never thought to bring this up until I heard Nick Wright make the comment. And I think what bothered me, I mean, and for the record, I think Byron and I both, and probably all of us on this panel, we all probably agree LeBron's probably the second or third greatest player of all time. So, yeah, he's in the conversation. I will not doubt that. But I think what bothers me is the way Nick Wright did it. Like the way he made the argument.
Yeah, the way he did it was just looking at numbers, like he was like reading off a stat.
That's what it was.
Like he didn't take anything else into consideration.
Yeah.
The rant was just dumb.
That's what bothered me about it. The way he made it, essentially, it was like, why would you think Michael's better than LeBron? Like, what? Like, it's the way he went about it, and that's why it's such a hot topic, and I thought we would talk about it. But see, I guess that's that's the problem with some of these shows on ESPN and Fox Sports now is just clickbait. Let me just say the dumbest. I mean, we have to also remember Nick Wright's the same guy who said there are 6 better players in the NBA than Kawhi Leonard. So you could take what he says with a grain of salt. End it on there. Yeah, tomorrow we'll have we got Rockets and Spurs. Let's pray for another close one. I'm sorry, Byron. I know you want to blow out by the Rockets.
It's gonna be a blowout.
You know, because I know your heart can't take it because it's gonna be so close. So I'm hoping that let's get a Rockets win. So Byron's gonna be in a good mood tomorrow. Although if they lose, he'll be in a worse mood, which may make for more entertainment. But Byron, you got to come back tomorrow.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be a sore loser. I probably won't even come on.
He's lying. He'll come on because they lost the other day. Allana, if you can come on tomorrow, you're more than welcome to join us.
I will let you know, as usual.
Yes, let me know. Brady, are you good for tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
Outstanding. I think we'll get Charlie back again tomorrow. Charlie's been an outstanding guest for us. He's done a really good job. We'll get him back. And like I said, I'm working on I want to get Joseph Young to come on with us of the Indiana Pacers. Hopefully he'll do it. Hopefully we can get him on. But everybody enjoy your night, and we will be back tomorrow around the same time. I can't guarantee time just because we don't know when the game is going to end. If it goes to overtime, I can't control that. But soon after the game is over, we will be back.